Alright, hello and everybody watching. I'm just going to talk a little bit about my homemade Delta I built just last week, and I've been making improvements slowly to it ever since. The original design came from a gentleman named UnlimitedVertical on YouTube. His plans are fantastic and really easy to follow, and core flute turns out makes an amazing building material. Very tough, resistant to just about any crash I've ever thrown it through, which has been plenty considering this is my first Delta aircraft. The only damage so far is right here, which came from whacking into a tree at, I don't know, maybe 75% throttle, and that's it. Everything's put together with about 40 sticks of hot glue. Most of the electronics came from a Hobby King slow stick that I kind of butchered. Cheap 9-gram servos. The Hobby King motor, I think it's like a 1450 kV or something like that. The 1200 kV was too slow. 30 amp speed control from Amazon. Everything's cheap, Turnigy everything, and it all works flawlessly. The range is fantastic. I made some designs from the original, or some changes to the original design. I didn't think it had enough elevator authority, so I went ahead and made some, I don't know what these are called, but I added some hinges here, and just made it so it's kind of almost like a thrust vectoring action whenever I use these things. And same thing for underneath. Works really well. These here are just some landing skids I made to kind of keep my elevators from catching the tall grass in our pasture. I can run it off anything from a 2200 3-cell, and it even flies with something as little as a 7.4 volt 15 or 1300 milliamp battery. Of course, the 7.4 volts can be a lot slower, but it's good for teaching people how to fly. I also added these little wingtips here, which help with stability, just an insane amount. And the rudder is another thing I added onto the original design. It helps just an absolute huge amount, and it's noticeable. I mean, that elevator just throws this thing, or the rudder, throws this thing around like it's no problem. So these are about it for my kind of additions to the original design, and I'll go ahead and upload a maiden of it later this evening.